everybody, and welcome to the Adulting Company or Adulting Co, whatever you call it. My name is Ayomide, and we have
I'm Olamide, and we have a
with us
special guest.
today. Oh, gracing us with her presence.
With her beauty.
I think she should do this introduction. Me, I'm like, I'm a distant spectator. I used to look at Anjola from a distance. You understand? So please come and do introduction first.
Okay, so today we have Angie Mama, my hit woman. Okay, no, that is a very poor introduction. No, but this is Anjola, and she is our longtime friend. We've been friends for years.
One of the best friendship stories. One of the best friendship stories.
Listen, like literally, like if we had time, we'd have done like adulting and friendships and how friends. But let's leave that alone. But like, this has been one of my friends. Yeah, I have a small support system, and she's one of them. So we're so glad to have you, baby girl. She is currently doing her master's in the UK. And so the adulting is even the adulting in the abroad. We're doing abroad adulting. As in a fresh girl. So welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you. This interview has been a long time coming. So we're just going to get right into it. So over to you, Ayomide.
Yeah, and before we jump right in, please subscribe. I put out a birthday wish list and I said people to subscribe, and they did. They did not. So now I know who my friends are. So please don't forget to subscribe to share this. Somebody will definitely need it, and to leave a comment. You reply comment. Okay, thank you. And you know what? Something might be loading. Something interesting might be loading. So yeah. So today we're going to be talking about adulting or adulthood and finance, money, goodie. Go. Every language, I know. Before we go into like the main topic, we always want to ask our guests, when did adulting start for you? So Angie is going to tell us like when it really slapped her in the face, when it both back since I was 1 month ago, 1 year ago. Please tell us your story.
That's an interesting question. I think I watched one of your earlier videos, and you guys were talking about how adulthood doesn't necessarily start at like all at once in one specific like time. It's something that you sort of ease into it from the little things, like starting to pick your outfits and when you're younger and whatnot. Those are beginning of adulthood. But I think the one time I would say it started was probably when I started my undergrad. So that was 2016, I think. Yeah. So I did go from home every day, but my university was 2 hours away. And so that involved commute. And, that was when I started receiving a very regular weekly allowance. And, that's when all the social pressures and everything starts, because, you have to manage your time. You want to hang out with people. That involves money. And yet you only have this amount for like, the entire week. And because I left very early in the morning, so sometimes 5 something, and I think it kind of changed over the years. So I wouldn't even be able to eat breakfast at home some days, and packing lunch really wasn't my thing either. So I would have to buy breakfast and lunch at school. And, I think in that time, that was when adulting kind of started, because it started, first of all, with the independence of making my own decisions. I have to choose what I want to do, what I want to buy, where I want to go have lunch. I have to choose your friends, like, you don't have your parents like hovering over you or like scrutinizing each of your friends. Like, they don't meet everyone. So it's up to you to kind of select who you want to influence your life, the kind of person you want to be. And there was just a lot of big decisions, I think, in that time period overall. That would probably be for me when adulthood started. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing about going out and spending money, because classes are supposed to reopen physically, like compulsory in my college. And it's like going out means you're going to spend money. And it's actually very annoying. Like sit down in your house. I mean, you can't spend money at home, but you have to spend money when you go out. Right. Thank you, Angela, for sharing that. So I think the first question I would ask is, I mean, it's a very basic question, but then how important do you think money is in this adulting process? Like, is it that important? Is it just by the side, or it's like super, super, super important? What's your opinion about that? But some people don't believe money is important.
Um, I think it's a bit of a mix, because I don't think money defines adulthood, because you can have money and still be very much a child. So money doesn't
That's good. That's
money
good
does
right
not
there.
define adulthood at all, but it is an important part of it, because especially when you have to manage it, I think the managing part is sort of the defining point in, like, money being important in adulthood, because like you said, you need money to do everything. We live in a world where it's all about exchange, so something has to give at some point. So whether it's transport, paying for your transport, or paying for your McDonald's ice cream, whatever it is, like, you need money at some point. So
Yeah.
it might not be the definitive part of adulthood, but it is an important aspect, more or less.
That's true. That's
Definitely.
actually very true. And at the end of the day, there was somebody that was talking about how basically kind of being rich or being wealthy now in this our age, it's not really a luxury anymore. It's kind of a necessity because things are tough out
Listen.
there. It is
Like,
actually tough out there. And that leads me to the next question. Like when we're talking about money and how money is important, do you think it's just for like our basic survival, or there's something even deeper to it, like about having money? Like is this just so that we can eat food, we can pay our bills? Like is there like a deeper meaning to money, the concept of money?
I think it depends on sort of what stage of adulthood you're in, and money can be, for handling your bills and whatnot. So in the stage that I'm at right now, for me, money is managing my expenses, daily utilities, weekly grocery shopping, hanging out with friends, and all that. But I think at the earlier point of kind of adulthood, for me, at the beginning part, like I was saying, the beginning part of my adulthood, money was empowering for me. I didn't necessarily need it for utilities and whatnot, because I was still with my parents, but I always feel like a boss when I know I have money
Yes,
going out.
100.
no lie.
It's just,
No lie.
it just made me feel good. Like I remember whenever my mom would give me money to go out, for example, and I would have change and I would keep that. And over the weeks, I just know I have money. I can't be stranded anywhere, and I don't need
Yeah.
anyone. And I'd be out and I'd be like, Dad, I want to go to the mall. And he was like, what do you want to buy? I was like, don't worry, I have my money. Just take me. It's just like, you feel like you can do whatever you want to do, because you have that security. So I think money gives a sense of security, like overall, like you feel like you're in control because you have money. As much as like, we want to say that money is not everything, it does. Money has power, let's be real, and you feel that power when you have money.
When you have
You
it.
feel like
No
a
lie.
huge part of like your worries or whatnot, like it's not there. Like, what if I get stranded and like I need to get in a taxi and I don't have money? When you have money, those are not your fears. So
Yeah.
there is a huge part of like those daily stressors that are just like, they're put in a
Out the
cupboard
window.
somewhere because you don't have to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And like what you're saying is like
Yeah.
very true. Sorry, George, got
That's
you in. But
okay,
like for
George.
me, I think my own personal experience is like at this point I'm in a place where everything, my whole existence, literally is tied in one way or the other to something related to money. So if it's even recording this podcast, trust me. Sorry, not podcast. I have a podcast, that's another thing. But recording this episode, it's money that's going into it because obviously the internet. See, when you live in your parents' house and they're paying for the internet, you don't realize
It's sweet.
until, until you have to start paying for it. And so I think So what you said is very true. Like when I was younger, like the focus of me having money was just knowing that I have money. But now it's more like everything I am doing is in one way or the other tied to money.
Yeah.
And so when I do not have money, my own definition of, okay, another thing is like my definition of not having money is different from some other people's definition. See, I am very scared of having a 0.00 balance in my account. And so I would rather sit at home with 1,000, for example, and know that I have that money than actually like spend it till there's no money at all. So I think, yeah, like for the most part these days, money is for survival. Listen, we're not even trying to be rich here. We're just trying to live and do all that we need to do.
Definitely.
Right, exactly. So now when we're seeing like the importance of it, I mean, it's a necessity now, like there's the necessities and the wants, but this is a necessity. So now, what are steps, like maybe you as a person, and Angela, and obviously all of us we talk about it, but like, are you taking any steps now to actually make the money? When did you realize that I need to start figuring this thing out by myself? Because it reaches a point, yes, your parents might support you, then the support is not enough, then the support finally stops, right? So when did you realize that, okay, now I need to start figuring things out, even if it's just like from your mindset, like you might not necessarily have started anything, but like when that mindset shift happened, where it's like, okay, I want to become finance conscious and stuff like that.
Um, it would have to be just roughly 6 months ago. So when I started my master's program, because before then I was at home. So even if I run out of whatever money I have, because sometimes I would do a few like part times, and I'll get like little change here and there, and so like I had those to buy whatever I want. It was mostly spent on Amazon. So then there was no responsibility. My money was my own to spend on whatever, because everything else was being handled, and so I could buy whatever nonsense I wanted on Amazon, because that to me was what having money was all about. So
And
I didn't
know her, she buys a lot of nonsense. I know her personally.
Exposing.
Well, she used to.
So I think when I came over for my master's program is where I realized that I need to be money conscious. I need to, be smart about what I'm spending my money on and how I'm managing my expenses and whatnot. I'd always like watch stuff and like videos on YouTube of people talking about, how to like budget when you're in college and whatnot, but I never necessarily had that because I always had my family with me. So if I ran out of my allowance, I just needed to make my case and get more. So it was quite easy, like, and I have an older brother, so if I need to buy anything, I just pull the little sister card, and so it works for me. But not
where
anymore.
Are thou, my older brother? Where art thou?
It doesn't work that way anymore, because now when I came for my master's, I'm being given a monthly allowance, and there's all these expenses and whatnot. And my parents live in a different country, so I have to think about what the conversion is, because the reality of it is it might seem like small money here, but what they're sending is quite a lot, and there's so many other things that they need to take care of financially. So I just feel like it doesn't make sense if I can manage for me to keep asking for more just so I can have that level of comfort of freedom, so to say, because I am comfortable, but it's like it's not necessarily like just anything I want, and like not thinking about what I'm spending and whatnot. So I think the first month when I came, because I was coming in, I needed to get a lot of things. It's my first time living alone, and I had a decent amount to come in because we weren't sure what the expenses were going to be, and due to the pandemic, I came by myself. So I didn't have the same luxury as a lot of people that I know were coming as international students, where the family comes in with them, and gets them settled. And again, the master's experience is different from person to person. It's just the age that I am coming in for my master's program and kind of the way I was raised, my parents would prefer to bring me in because it's the first time they're sending me away by myself and make sure I'm settled before they abandon me. So it's good. So I didn't get that opportunity. I came by myself, and so they had to make sure I had enough money to settle down. And I didn't understand the currency or anything, so I was kind of excited. You know, I went out, I was like, oh, I need to get plates for my place. And I could have been looking at price, but no, I was looking at aesthetics. I was like, oh, this is nice. Oh, this will look nice for plating and whatnot. And after buying a few dishes, a few like kitchen towels, a matching shower curtain to my laundry basket, I realized I didn't need to do all those things.
You went all out.
Oh my God, it's the matching shower curtains for me. Like
When I came back and I looked at what was left and the amount of weeks till I get my next allowance, I was like, oh no.
yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
Maybe I didn't need to get all of this. Maybe I could cheaper plates. But I mean,
goodness.
another thing, and that's another thing, like in terms of knowing what you're spending on, I may have spent a lot of money on the plates, but I did get them on sale. So some justification. And every day I eat, I'm happy. I look at my plates and I'm like, oh, it's pretty. And I get a lot of compliments from my flatmates or when I have friends over. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But
You can live with
Inner satisfaction.
justified my expenses, but I think it was in that point that I realized that okay, I need to be a bit more money conscious if I want to do a lot more. You have to be realistic with spending on certain things. Like, do you really need that? Do you have to buy that one? Can you buy an alternative one and then make that decision for yourself? And that was when I started keeping receipts and that was actually where I knew that I could have bought a lot of things cheaper because I kept the receipt from everywhere I went to and I put them all out and I looked at it and I was like, Angie, baby, so
we cannot do this.
that was where I realized that, okay, there are some things I can cut off, and I don't necessarily need. I had these, oh, I'm gonna buy myself this pot in this type of pot and whatnot. I just need one and one frying pan. There's no need to be extra. And so, it's just cautioning yourself on like little things. And I think coming from, having that easy access to whatever I need, like, thank God, like my parents are able to provide whatever I want on request. So coming from that to having to deal with these expenses by myself, I think that was the point I realized that, oh no, I need to cut back and like manage and whatnot. And I'm not working or I'm not working a paying job. I am working, but it's just for experience and whatnot. But I'm able to manage with whatever my parents are giving me each month. And when things go up and I see like, okay, it's not sufficient, I make an effort to like spell it out to them exactly why I feel like I need a little bit more so I'm not stranded, because it have been times where I would turn up like with only £6 in my account and I'm freaking out again with the whole power thing. I'm like, what if I go out and I need to like get something? This is not enough money to have on hand. And it's just like being able to like make sure that, and again, I can ask them and be like, I need more, because I know I didn't unnecessarily spend the money. It genuinely went into where it needed to go. So I think for me, I've rambled a little bit, but for me, it was at that point, that I realized that, okay, it's time to grow up and manage your wallet.
Yes. So like that thing you said about when you decide that, okay, no, like I can work with what I have. So like I just wanted to bring in the dimension of like contentment and the idea of, okay, sometimes, so like with me personally, like I've had to make tough decisions to walk away from, nice dresses, nice shoes, nice this, nice that, because it's like, you know what, I I'm not going to be barefoot. I still have a pair of shoes to wear. Like it would be nice to have those ones, but I still have a pair to wear right now. And so it's that whole aspect of contentment. Like how has that, and everyone can say one thing or two about it, because I'm sure we've all had to like make those sacrifices and be like, you know what, I'll be fine with this one dress. It's okay. I'll wear it again next week. But like that whole aspect of contentment, and like, would you say that at the end of the day, as much as we're trying to make money, we still have to have contentment influence how we go about this process? Because listen, if I start listing out all the things I want to get, yeah. But then I have to come to that place where it's like, okay, do I have the basics? Okay, I'm not hungry. I'm having clothes to wear. I have internet, and probably that's as good as it gets. So like prioritizing and deciding that, okay, I'll be content even with this. So like how has contentment worked in your own space? That was just my own experience.
Yeah, so I think contentment is a very important aspect of everything in life in general. In finance, very much so, because if you're not content, you're just going to keep wanting more. It's never going to be enough for you, because the thing with contentment is the lack of contentment means you're constantly comparing yourself to others around you. And there will always be somewhere, like someone somewhere that is more well off than you are. You'll have friends that are better off financially than you, and if you're constantly trying to match up to other people's level, you're not going to be happy with yourself. Even if you have that extra cash, or if you have those extra things or whatnot, like you're constantly going to look at the fact that for them it's way easier, because you might put up that front, but you're probably struggling in the background. And if you're going to constantly look at that and look at them, and you're not going to be happy. Because you will always wish you could do more, because it starts by comparing and wanting to be at the same level as them, and then that's not enough. You're gonna want to outdo them, essentially. So it's a toxic ladder. Like you're just gonna keep going up and up, and it's not gonna get you anywhere. So I think contentment is an important thing, and that's one thing I really do thank my parents for, because one thing my mom always taught us was you have to be content in everything in your life. I remember getting ready for school, and she would always read these memory verses to us, and one of them was on contentment, and that's something she constantly drilled into us. There are gonna be people out there who seem like they have more. It doesn't matter. You be happy with whatever you have, and it will feel as though you have just as much. It also leads to a very much happier life, which means less stress, less wrinkles. So
because like literally what you're saying is so true, because you know how so like I know people who, there's a word in Yoruba, but I can't remember what it is right now. I've been trying to remember, because over the last few days I've been speaking about this. But there are those people that always want to have you spend money. They're always looking for where to go. They're always looking for
I was going to
buy.
ask about that.
So like for me personally, like I've had to make the decision based on something that I've heard Anthony O'Neill say. It's like, just say no. It's like, I'm currently saving money right now, and so I'm not going to go to this place with you, because like you said, this contentment, it's me knowing that there's food at home. I can eat at home and be okay. And then at the end of the day, I don't have to feel bad at the end of the week when I've spent more money than I planned to spend, because I was trying to keep up with XYZ person who may or may not actually have the money that they are spending. And so like I've had to make that decision where it's like, no, this person, I'm not going to entertain that level of friendship with you where it's like, oh, let's go here, let's go there. And I don't know if some people see me and they think like I swim in, dollars somewhere. No, dear, I don't. And so like I literally have to be telling people, no, I'm sorry, I won't be able to make it. Otherwise, I have to plan for you. And so you tell me like a month in advance. So I plan for you and put you in the budget. So I don't know, like, have you had those experiences where you have people who are like, oh, let's go do this today, let's go do that one tomorrow, and it's money we're spending.
Hold up, like I can't
wait a minute.
Right.
Yeah, definitely, because I feel like, also, can I just say that I feel like when you're content with what you have, people tend to see you as though you have more, because you're not necessarily like worried. You're not worrying about like all the little things or trying to match up to someone. You genuinely seem happy with whatever you have, so you will seem as though you have more because you're happy with the quantity of like what you have. So when you have a surplus of anything at some point, you know, it's there, it doesn't bother you, it doesn't make you greedy or anything like that. So I think it's very important. And yeah, to answer like your question specifically, always, all the time. We live in a generation where I think going out is the definition of having a life. So you're constantly going to be in situations where like people want you to go out like every other day. Kind of boils down to the whole pick your friends wisely. Like, you know, also be comfortable enough in like your situation, because there's contentment and there's like, you know, confidence and like comfortable in like your contentment, if that makes sense. And like what I mean is that you could say you're contented with everything that you have until you're put in a situation where you're challenged to do more.
Yeah,
right?
you're like in your
If
own
you're not
bubble. You're like in your own
comfortable,
bubble and you're content.
yeah, so if you're not comfortable in like, this is how I want to live my life, I'm not content in this situation just because I have to be, I have no choice. You're content anyway. When you don't have enough and someone says, oh, let's go out, you're comfortable enough to say, I don't think I can do it like this week, like maybe next week. I'm not like, you know, I don't have enough. Like I've had those situations, you know, before where like my friends like, oh, she would send me something on Instagram and be like, oh, we should go check out this place. And I search it up and I look at how much it costs to have a meal, like just the cheapest thing on the menu at, you know, in the and I know at this present moment I can't handle that. No, I would just be like, can we do next week? And if they ask why, and I'll be like, yeah, no, like I don't have enough money.
It ain't part of the budget.
Like, girl, it's not enough budget for this week. Like, I'm very quick to be like, oh yeah, I think I'm way over my budget for this week. Maybe next week we can do it. Because you have to constantly like set limits for yourself and I don't feel anything to say that, because I mean the reality is I am a student. It's not about being stingy, because there's some people who just are, you know, very tight-fisted when it comes to spending. It's not about that. It's just the reality of my situation is I'm a student. I am not working at the moment and I'm depending on an allowance. I cannot spend this amount right now because I don't feel like it's necessary for that right now. Like sometimes you want to go out, please spoil yourself. Like you have to do stuff for yourself. And for me, my guilty pleasure is ordering stuff off of Amazon. So it's just like, you know, don't come to me, please.
We're watching this Amazon now. We're watching you. We're watching you.
It's just like understanding like where you're at and being able to say no when people ask you for stuff. You can go out today. Doesn't mean if they say 2 days later they're going out for dinner, you're carrying your bag and you're heading out. If you don't have the finances, sit your ass at home. Like you don't have to go out. Like just sit down.
And I feel like we really also like need to change this mindset where we make it seem like saving money or not spending money is like poverty, or listen, you would much rather look down the road a week later and have money that you have saved as opposed to spending all of it at once. I am not for spending all the money you have, because I know that especially like in Nigeria, I find that sometimes there are people who spend all. Now, I'm not judging anybody who is in a tight condition, and so it's fine if your balance is 000. However, y'all know yourselves, the ones who intentionally spend all the money on food and clothes. Like, no, you're not living the life, dear. You're setting yourself up for failure. And so, like, we have to get past that mindset of making it seem like because I choose to save money, I choose not to be in with everybody else, I'm any less of a person. Like, yeah.
Also, you don't want it to make it seem like because you choose to save or you're being conscious of like what you're spending, that you're better than those who are going out every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody
Exactly.
gets to choose what they want to do with their like finances, their money and whatnot, and how they want to live their life. So just, you know, stay in your corner. Let's all
In
be
your
guided.
corner.
Don't go
Let's all be guided.
Exactly.
feel like
Right.
they're like less,
Right.
or you know, they're frivolous just because they choose to eat out every day. You don't want to, that's your thing. Like, you know, I like to cook and I prefer cooking, so I'd rather take that same money that I probably would spend eating out, go to the grocery store, buy the
And by
ingredients
yourself.
and cook.
Exactly.
That's my way of spending the money. It's probably
Yeah.
about the same amount, but some of those will last me longer. I have the fun experience, distressing experience of like cooking. And so, you know, that's how I choose to live my life. Doesn't mean I have to judge someone who decides to Deliveroo, like whatever it is they want to have a dinner. So yeah.
Mhm. I think that thing of just being in your own space, because I know myself, there was this time in my life I was ordering food a lot. A lot. There's one time I was telling my mom that I will not order food again this year. I think that was like on the 31st of December or something like that. Like, I will not order food.
Yeah. How did that go, darling?
But at the end of the day, I won't induce someone to spend their money, right? So I know what I can do. I'm in my parents' house, and sometimes I do buy food, and then they tell me like, yeah, I wish I had that money on me now. Like the other day, I was consoling myself with very expensive today. But like, I think the major thing that I can take from this whole discussion is when we're talking about when they say like when you want to have more money, you either spend less or you make more. I think it's just as important. But I know I had written it down as one of the things for this year. Don't spend money at a faster rate than you're making it. So meaning that if you're working with a given allowance, please use it with sense. And if you're making millions, we're not saying you shouldn't use it with sense. Like that's also important. And also that working with what you have, like what Angela was saying, is like for some people cooking is nice, right? And at the end of the day, you might spend less. So you're making yourself happy with those little things. But it doesn't mean that going out is the definition of fun or living your adulthood. Like for someone, fun might be sitting down at home, legit, and they're not sad, they're not depressed, they're just enjoying their lives. They're genuinely enjoying their lives, right? And there's so much more we could talk about. And you have to be on adult Inco again. Like that's not even an option. Like we're dragging you here. One day, very soon, we should definitely have like a larger conversation, a whole conference meeting, whatever we'll call it. But then we're so amazing having Anjola. Yeah. Do you have any last words?
Thank you, baby girl.
Please let us know. Thank you so much, Anjola.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we have come to the end of today's episode. Please don't forget to subscribe, to like, to share, to comment. Pester people with these videos, like send it to them 5 times, you understand? Because some people will not realize that adult people exist and, might help their life. So, you understand it.
Those chain messages, send 5 times if you want.
Yes, forwarded many times. Please let it be forwarded many times. Right? I would have said follow Angela, but Angela has a private account. They say you should not have a private account. Single sister, you should not have a private account.
How is husband gonna find you? How is husband gonna find you?
So if we feel the need to put your Instagram handle and follow us at the_adulting_company, you can follow. Yeah, you'll find us.
Follow us everywhere. Yeah. Please just find us
everywhere. So until the next episode, you take care of yourself, and yeah, let's continue growing together. Bye.
Bye.